Hello and welcome. Yes, that's right. This ITX motherboard has 12 SATA ports. I repeat 12. 6 ports are the most common number. Some have 8. This is the only one I've seen with 12 SATA ports that doesn't break the bank. It costs $89 from Alibaba. But there is a caveat, a pretty significant one at that. The embedded CPU is Celeron N5095. This is a generation older than N100, and it is a really weak CPU. While it should be fine for a NAS, for anything else I'd advise against it. It has a single M.2 slot, which is wired to 2 lanes of PCIe version 3. And I see a mini PCI Express port. I am unsure why it's there because you can rarely find anything useful to use it with. This motherboard is clearly geared toward being a storage motherboard, so there doesn't need to be much else. I see a single 4-pin fan header, 2 external USB 2 ports for server needs, and 2 Intel network interfaces. Those are pretty much all you need for a simple server motherboard. Finally, it has a single slot for a laptop DDR4 RAM and a good old-fashioned motherboard speaker that can only beep loudly. Nothing much to speak about the BIOS itself. It has TPM 2.0, meaning Windows 11 can be installed. The CPU fan runs at 4200 RPM, thus loud. Using 2 Noctua low fan noise adapter brings the RPM down to around 2400, which makes it very much bearable. This has got a low power CPU. The fan doesn't need to run at such a speed unless you are putting it in a 1U rack mount chassis. Running Geekbench 6 reveals a rather pitiful score. N100 is more than twice faster. Still, casual Windows usage is acceptable, but anything more than that, it struggles hard. Power consumption is higher than I expected. Stressing the CPU to max reveals around 41 watts, with idle power consumption at around 30 watts. I am not surprised at the max power consumption. It's the idle power consumption. I expected it to be around 20 watts. Idle power consumption is more important for home lab servers since they tend to idle 90% of time. This is first and foremost a storage motherboard. It's not really equipped to do anything else. The N5095 CPU is just too weak, but it is good enough for a storage server. It can run without the CPU fan. I've tried it. The motherboard won't complain even if it's disconnected. And as long as there is some sort of airflow around the heatsink, it will run fine, although the CPU temperature will stay around 90 degrees Celsius. The default fan speed, 4200 RPM, makes it quite loud. But this is the recommended speed, should you place this in a 1U rack mount chassis. If not, I suggest you either unplug the fan or use low fan noise adapter to reduce the RPM. I tried hard to find a similar motherboard with N100 because I had an actual need for it, but no. This specific model exists only with N5095. Anyway, to be brutally honest, this motherboard is pointless. Yes, it does have 12 SATA ports. However, Any case that could house 12 hard drives will be large enough to be able to use a micro ATX or even full ATX. For larger motherboards, you can use PCI Express SATA extension cards to add more ports. The only practical usage for this motherboard would be a scenario where you want to build a storage server based on 2.5-inch drives. Like you could source 12 relatively inexpensive 4TB SSDs and build a RAID array with this motherboard. There are some specialized 1U rack mount chassis that will let you do exactly this. That is the only use case that makes sense to use an ITX motherboard. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.